It's the Good Contractor podcast, and it is your friends, Luke and John, back for another episode. I am going to tee up our next guest by saying Colleen Keyworth is everywhere. If I don't see her at an HVAC event that I'm at, or plumbing, or really any trade show, I'm at the wrong damn event. So we're going to talk about her journey, but most importantly, she's not traveling anywhere today, I don't think, but we want to welcome Colleen Keyworth to the Good Contractor podcast. How are you today?
I'm doing well. I'm in my office in Port Huron, Michigan. I swear.
I don't want to lead the, what do they call it? Lead the witness, bury the lead, something like that. I don't want to tease this too much when I let you tell it, but you grew up with a family in the trades and you had a family owned business and you got fired from a family owned business.
Everybody knows that.
Okay. Tell us about that.
My grandfather had a business, a plumbing and heating business. My father and uncle inherited that business. And then all of us grandkids would spend time doing odd jobs or things. And I was working on a Saturday and I was in charge of the phones and I snuck out of the office. And when I was asked about it, I totally lied about it. My uncle, as he should have, promptly fired me. And I spent the next 2 years of that time of my life doing all sorts of odd jobs. I taught horseback riding and water sports. I went to Florida, kayak tour guides and gator wrestling. I was a wedding coordinator. I was a greeting card stalker and I worked in childcare. It was a crazy experience where I was discovering myself, if you will.
What did you discover?
Well, I discovered that odd jobs are really hard to keep up with. And nobody understands the value of a 9 to 5 with weekends off until you have it. And you're like, this is how the normal people lived.
True.
So my dad had been trying to get me to go to the marketing side. I was like, yeah, no, I'm kind of over the trades. It's dumb. I don't really want to work for my dad. My friends had been telling me yeah, you'd be really good at sales. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't know what I really want to do. It takes other people really telling you, what you'd be good at sometimes. And so I got invited to a conference. It's Pure Romance Conference. So for those of you who don't know what Pure Romance is, it is in-home sales for, self-care and
sex toys.
And
yeah.
Yeah, John's got his pink Cadillac Escalade that he got from all the sales he did. John's sorry.
Well,
carry on, Colleen.
I went to this. It was very business professional. So then I get there and they were releasing their new catalog. And the creepiest thing about Pure Romance, if you don't know, is it's started by a woman and her son. Still don't understand that. Anyway.
Wait for the Netflix special.
There has got to be a documentary. How we built it. No, I don't want to hear it. I'm good.
So wow. You get there and they divide, it's 400 or 500 women, and they divide them all into the room into groups of 20 or 15. And they each give them a product in their new catalog to discuss how the best way to sell that product. And they teach about it, give you all the facts and stuff. Then whoever had the best presentation got chosen from each group to go up on stage and deliver that to the group. And I won.
Keep going. Sorry, we are. I don't. You can't tell. I'm on the edge of my seat.
I am too.
The product that my team was assigned was a non-silicone based re-wetting lubricant. So I get up there, I have the whole crowd laughing and stuff, and I do some sort of story about I don't know, your sex life being a jalopy or a Ferrari or something like that. And it was I don't remember the specifics, so don't ask. They're like, well, where do you do consulting? I was like, I'm not a consultant at all. I came with a friend. They're like, well, you should sign up and be with us. And that was the son talking to me at the time, and I was like, and I didn't really want to do it. And I was like, no, it's okay. I have other jobs and stuff. I just think this is pretty fun. That I called my dad. Dad, I just sold lubricant on the stage. He's like, talk to your mother. And so he gave the phone to my mom. And I was like, is that sales job still available? And he was like, well, I mean, yeah, but what are we talking about here? And
that told you could sell. That was the time when the other people were and you believed it and you were like, oh, I could just do this.
Well, I didn't want to listen to my dad. Who does that?
In a week, are you working in the trades?
So I started with just the onboarding, and then I started going to with my father to the events and stuff and meeting the people. And so it very quickly became, oh, you're Dave's daughter to, oh, you're Colleen's dad. And then I actually joined Women HVACR's board, honestly, probably not even 2 years into my career. So it was like very, very quickly. And so that was honestly easily the biggest secret to my speed dating is I met some incredible women who took me under their wing, and I learned so much and got into so many rooms and invited to so many tables that I normally as a marketing company wouldn't be able to do. And so I got to see the other side of the industry from a national level and absolutely fell in love, whether it be for advocacy, whether it be for regulatory, whether it be for just contractor best practices. I got involved in all of it. That led to many open doors for our business, for online access. That led to incredible relationships we still have today, being able to work with the UN on an international level and do advocacy for women overseas. I just got back from Paris and Milan a couple weeks ago where I was doing some of that, which was kind of cool. And I did the last 2 years or almost 3 years, I did about 14 countries. So
wow,
flexing
good
on
for
us
you.
big time.
That is amazing. That is awesome.
From true romance to true expertise. There's a title buried in here somewhere.
From true romance to true expertise.
There's something. I can't even remember what the name of it. But let me ask you this. Did you learn from sort of, I'll say from working in the trades compared to then getting in and doing the business side of you're helping them grow their business and you're thinking about it at that
There's
kind
so
of like
much more to it for this industry specifically. If you don't have any type of context into what their seasonality looks like, what a day in the life looks like, how much of an undertaker industry this is, where nobody's passionate about our products and services until it's broken, like you're already losing it. So our go-to-market strategy is so different. I learned a lot, obviously, from my father and uncle. And then a lot of it was even doing site visits with customers. We shared an office, Online Access did, for almost 10 years with Vincent. So it was easier to walk back there and be like, do you have a sheet for this? Or do you have something like this? And my husband was a technician. So, I mean, that's the other crazy thing is my husband's a tech. So I know the other struggle of being a technician's wife, I tell you what. And then the other side of it is my brother's a TM for a wholesaler locally here. And so, I mean, like, there's no escaping this industry for me, but I do have a lot of context.
Yeah. You've seen this thing from like a lot of sides. It sounds like you're deep into this. What have you seen like from your perspective over the last 5, 10, I don't know, whatever but like,
I have your answer, don't worry.
What's my answer? Right. Go. Yeah. I don't even need to ask dumb questions and you already have good answers dialed up.
No.
By the way, that is the best ever. When someone's like, you don't even need to ask the question. I leave it to Colleen to be the first to go, no, I already have the answer. Let's go.
Yeah.
As far as the biggest evolution of something or change or big switch that I have noticed that is really, I think, changed our industry, I think social media changed the way contractors do business. And I'm not even sure for the good in some cases either. So when people start businesses and these disgruntled techs or these guys, like, they'll start a business and like they're going to Facebook for their advice and they're joining these groups and stuff like that. You see this and everybody seems a little bit more fickle. I feel like everything's more of an instant gratification. There's a lot more tools to be able to figure out, like, I have to choose between whether I'm doing Podium or whether I'm doing Chirp. Like, so there's a lot more to navigate, but I don't think I see a die off of people getting involved physically with their time and giving back to advocacy. Like on a state level specifically. So all state level organizations that I work with are desperate for people. They're not getting the younger contractors invested in things like going for code changes or advocacy or regulatory. And that's going to make a big difference we're going to see because they don't see that it's worth their time. Which is crazy considering what kind of world we're living in regulatory wise. And so you're seeing a die off where the older contractors, those 50 to 70, are the only ones involved in these groups. And then they're slowly retiring and you don't have anybody under the age of 50 who are getting involved in a state level thing. Like there are in our state, specifically in Michigan, it is a big deal. And the same guys who have been really holding that line for us as a state for years have been doing it, and they're going to retire soon. And that yet they just think this stuff magically happens sometimes. Like everybody hears stuff coming down, like with the new equipment, like all the different regulations about how you install it and like what permits you have to pull and everything. And it's such a nightmare. And I think people are letting things happen to them rather than like making them happen. And we're losing that. And it becomes something that's going to affect everybody. and they don't take it seriously. So yeah, maybe I got in a little soapbox about this, but it's something that has been on my mind for a while because we involve ourselves with a lot of state level groups. I love state level organizations, the ACAs, the TACAs, the PHCCs, the FLACAs, the whatever, like they're all over. And they're really the core. It's like these contractors growing together, and they're forming a group in order to make sure that any changes coming down from Washington or from even their state legislation, that they're on top of, that they're the one providing the feedback. And we're losing that because you don't really have a lot of these younger guys taking that as a serious thing. And I do see a lot of them like puffing up on Facebook and, showing off maybe their revenue or whatever it is, but they're not really like
flexing.
Yeah. There's
That's
a
what
lot
the
of
kids are calling
superficial.
it, I think.
Yeah.
Am I right? I looked at John for young people terminology.
Wow.
You got teenagers in your
I'm
house,
older
dude.
than you. How am
But
you
you
looking
have
to me for
teenagers in
young
your
people?
house. You have teenagers.
Oh, that's true. I do have teenagers in my house.
I have like a 9-year-old and a 12-year-old, and they call my wife bruh. Yeah.
Bro. The not to change topics, but the key is to combat young slang is to take all the words that you have learned from their slang and combine them in the most nonsensical way possible into an entire sentence. So like you say, Skibbity Riz Ohio toilet, and you just put that all together, and then they get
I feel
so
like that's still yesterday I'm hearing though.
Oh, it may be, but you see that adds to the cringe. That adds to the cringe, and then they leave the room. And so then you, so you win, and then that's how that goes. I was gonna say on that note of things changing, when you were not in the trades and then you got back into it, it seems like it was a very quick jump to joining things beyond just, okay, well, this is what I do for a job now. It was important for you to get involved with advocating for groups and people, specifically women. How and why did that come so fast for you? Why was that so important? And then secondly, now that you're going all over the world, what are you seeing? What does Colleen Keyworth see when it comes to women in the trades now versus even 6 months, a year, 6 years ago?
Okay. Well, I've been nothing but real with you on this podcast. I'm not going to stop now. So when I joined... So it started by going to, I think it was a Comfort Tech in Nashville, and all these ladies had really sparkling lanyards. They had the jeweled lanyards, and I really wanted a jeweled lanyard. I wish that I had some sort of like 27-year-old insight of I need to join some advocacy group to get my badass self going, but it was all about the shiny lanyard. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
Damn right. We're truth telling on this podcast.
So I had a friend who was actually a part of the board, and she was like, yeah, you can have my lanyard, no big deal. And so I was walking into the room, the expo room with my dad, and up off to the side at this Comfort Tech, there was a booth for HVACR, and all these ladies wearing the shirts and stuff. And I went up there and introduced myself. So before me, my dad had offered to do women's website when Ruth started the organization. So we had already done Women HVACR's websites for like 10 years before I even joined the board. And so when the then president at the time, Patty Ellingson, had met me, she was like, oh my God, you guys aren't doing website stuff. She's like, and at this point, like we're like 100 members, 40 members in the room for conference, and like, I don't know, maybe $10,000 in the bank. Okay. So they're looking for people who are ready to go and who are ready to work, and they have a pulse, and you're looking for time. And so I was hungry for it. And I was like, oh my gosh, something I can get passionate about. And so I learned a lot, and not just the industry stuff, but also like just working with people. I mean, working in a women's board is not easy. Working the politics of any board is not easy. I'd love to say that it was like I had intention to do this, but really it just kind of came about that way. And it was very fortunate that it did, because it enabled me to get involved with other things. And so right now I serve on several different councils or boards or other things that we give our time to, that I love, like some of the state and local stuff here. I run our local ACA board here. And then the international stuff was honestly because I was very fortunate to have a family business that I was in that I had the time. So our busy season is really from October all the way, honestly, for roughly through like May. And so January might be a little slow. So does December. But like in general, like everything picks up. In fact, January actually gets really busy for us. So like it's different. So by the time June hits, everything is almost radio silence because everybody's busy selling air conditioners. And so that's the time that I was able to give when I wasn't traveling for work. I was able to participate in some of this stuff overseas. It's a very different level that I was working with over there. So it's very much the regulatory. So not necessarily the manufacturers where you're talking about the ductless equipment that they're doing, or the contractors, which is very different over there. We were working with like the academic levels, and then like the organizations that honestly set up a lot of the rules that we follow here for our AHRI stuff and everything in the States. So ASHRAE is one of the groups we were working with, International Network or International Institute of Refrigeration, the IIR, and then ISHRAE, which is Indian ASHRAE, and JESRAE, which is Japan, and like ERA, which is Australia. So I mean, like, so many different groups.
And what is it that they want to know, or that you want to work with them on? Like what kind of is it?
The group, which was, it's INWIC, and like I'm now the immediate past president of that, so I did that for 2 years. Is that we were helping other countries that don't have women's organizations. Like what we have here in the States is unheard of. Okay, so like it's a women's organization in the trades, run by women in the trades, not run by a parent company, not some manufacturer initiative. Not a union initiative. Like Tradeswomen Build Nation's massive, but it still answers to the big union board. Like Women HVACR is a complete silo unto itself. It doesn't have anything that it has to answer to. It's a board made up of different women from different verticals of the industry who are creating their own bylaws, making their own initiatives and everything like that, that doesn't have to answer to a parent company. And I'm going to say this, a parent company with men on it, maybe, or, you know, like, it's very much, you know, specific to its mission. So when you're going overseas, there are so many different groups that don't even have women in these roles, or they're not being transparent about it. Like we have, but it's mostly developing countries, like countries in Africa, countries in the Caribbean, some parts of the Netherlands, some parts, definitely India. And so you see these women in these roles, but they're trying to get a group together, because when they get a group together, now they're able to have, I hate to say it like this, but it's almost like you have a band of people that you can lean on, but it's not just being able to recruit more. It's also being able to retain. Retention goes up when you have a group. And so you have people you can lean on. Mexico is one of the biggest examples of this. Mexico, I worked a lot down there with their groups of women down there, their women in ASHRAE that they have and stuff. They're trying to get a Women in Mexico group. Mexico is itself is a very macho society. I love the friends I have in Mexico, but I, as a woman in Michigan in the United States, never have to worry about getting pregnant or getting engaged and that affecting what job I'm going to get or if I'm going to get that promotion. They can openly decide. They have to, and they're like, these are women engineers who are afraid to say, I don't want to get engaged right now because I'm up for a promotion, and they're automatically going to pass me by if I'm going to get engaged. So it's openly. I'm sure on a microaggression that happens in the States still, but at the same time, we have a lot of laws against that. Mexico does not. And so hearing a room full of like amazing engineers, like these really sharp women, be like talking about these basic things that I take for granted every day. That's the kind of stuff I think that it highlights, is that there is more to be done, and groups, by forming a group of women together, they're able to rise up and actually have a platform, create a voice, and create change for ways that they need to address it. Plus, if you're able to show examples of other women working, you're encouraging other women to join. So, because this industry has such an optics problem when it comes to women in different roles.
And you're in it right now. So like, what does the future, to me, it seems very bright, even taking into account what you said, like, hey, we're a lot further along in the United States. So like, what does the future look like both in the States and around the world for just women in the trades?
There's two things here, right? So this is the other side of it that people don't dial into. So you have the field level, and that's talking about the technicians and the engineers. And then you have professional level, which you're talking about the marketers, the CEOs, CFOs, the associates, the salespeople. So from that level, as far as universally, or even like, you know, here in the States, you know, we're doing fine. Like there's a lot that has changed as far as women coming into those roles, and as far as microaggressions and stuff. The people that are the early people I worked with, they're the ones that had to face quite a bit of workplace dynamic shift, because when they were starting work 30 years ago, it was not the same of what we're doing today, where it's not even as a rampant issue. People are just people, like, and you see a lot of women in very, very big roles in a lot of different companies. In the field, it's a little different. You're talking about manual labor. You're talking about a very, very heavy predominantly male field. And you're talking about the other stuff we don't talk about here in this nation. You're talking about religious and cultural barriers that we don't have. And so, especially in places like Africa or India or the Middle East or anywhere where you're talking about people that from a culture wouldn't even allow a woman to work these type of roles, that they weren't accessible, or from a religious standpoint wouldn't be able to be accessible to. So it's completely different. Yes, we've made amazing strides and we're very fortunate, but we take for granted a lot of the stuff we innately already had.
Wow. Colleen, I think we just need to have you back for more episodes, just because I feel like the problem is at a certain point we have to cap it, and then it's going to be like, well, what I should have asked Colleen. I just love what you're doing, and this is so much fun to be able to talk to women in the trades because, like I was saying, it seems like not every year, but like every month, there's a new barrier knockdown, and you're a huge part of that. And so we just can't thank you enough for doing what you do, but also coming to join us and talk about what you do, because it's super awesome.
Oh, thanks.
And it's tell funny stories and be cool.
That was going to be real.
Also good.
Yes. We're just going to have you on for bonus episodes where we just talk about fun stuff, and we can direct it by making fun of Luke. He'll make fun of me, and then we'll just go back and forth that way. Don't everybody forget, we do have community.companycam.com. You can join the discussion. We post all our episodes there. You can talk to other contractors in the United States and around the world, and hopefully we'll get Colleen there, and we'll have Luke post a lot there, and or I'll take over his account. I'll post as Luke. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll do that. But Colleen, you're the best. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Yes. It was a blast.
The Good Contractor podcast is powered by Company Cam.
Company Cam is an app built to help contractors organize their with multiple people at multiple locations snapping hundreds of photos. Organizing them can become a full-time job. That's where Company Cam comes in. Sign up today to get your team started.